Let's talk about dog food. Ianto's right here with me, and his brother Klaus is just there. Klaus is being a little bit grumbly, so you might hear him growling in the background. He's fine. No one's bugging him. He's just being grump. He does that sometimes. Anyways, food. Here you can see empty bag of Royal Canin Chihuahua. That's Klaus's food. And then here you can see a mostly full bag of Performatrin, Prime, just called Prime, adult sensitive skin and stomach, and in the background there's Ianto's food bin. This is from a recent trip Ianto and I went on. It's just sometimes easier just to grab a bag of it than to bring a separate bag because he's going to eat it eventually anyways. So this kibble is this size here. That photo's bad. Anyways, this is from that bag. This kibble is Chihuahua kibble. You can see it here next to that one. And then this kibble is what's in that bin over there. It is exactly the same recipe as this one, just a larger size. And that's because the bag we got was bigger for a larger breed dog. But the formula is the same. Klaus is a really healthy dog. He does not need any sort of special kibble or anything like that. We get the breed solutions because it exists, not because he needs it for any special medical reasons. Ianto, however, does have a sensitive stomach. He needs to have sensitive stomach food, either Royal Canin or Prime. Doesn't matter which, he does well on both. But he needs to have that to be the majority of the food that he eats. Otherwise, his stomach gets upset and he doesn't have a very good time. When I was younger, I raised dogs on raw food. That's what I was raised with. Our dogs and cats, they ate raw. But when I was doing my research into getting a service dog, it turns out that the vast majority of training is done with kibble, which makes sense. And it's really, really hard to do that training with raw food because it doesn't keep as well in a treat pouch. I can leave kibble in Ianto's treat pouch for months. Never lasts that long, but I could because it'll keep. I was never really happy with that though, so I made a choice when Ianto was not yet born that I'd start out with kibble and slowly transition to raw food. Ianto doesn't do well on raw food. So what we do instead is we give him about 80 to 85% of his food is the kibble. A further 10% or so is homemade dog soup, which I'm going to show you in a different video so I can take you through how we make it, what we do to try and keep costs down, that sort of a thing. And then the remaining is a mixture of other kibbles and treats. That way he gets enough of the sensitive stomach food to keep his belly happy. And he still gets some variety, and he gets additional fiber and nutrients and things like that from the soup. We're very careful about the nutrients we put in. We don't want to overload his system with too much iron or zinc or something like that. We have a couple of good dog cookbooks that help with maintaining that. I'll show you those in the future as well. Klaus gets the same. He gets the Chihuahua specific. But other than that, he gets the same dog soup and the same mixture of treats that Ianto does. And like I said, Klaus has no digestive issues at all. Now, the reason we use Royal Canin or Prime, but mostly Royal Canin is my preferred. Prime just happens to be Canadian, so it's a bit easier to get with the tariffs and everything, because we are, of course, in Canada. Royal Canin is one of a few companies that do whole life studies, or entire life studies, they're sometimes called, which basically means that the company follows puppies dames, pregnant dogs, right through to whelping, and then they follow those puppies right through to senior life, using their food, so they can see how the food affects the dog. And they do this multiple times, not just once. And so they know that this Royal Canin Chihuahua, dogs over 8 months, tailor-made kibble, blah, 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 they know that this, for the average Chihuahua, is exactly what they need. There's always going to be dogs with other medical needs like Ianto's. If they had a husky or a sheltie or an English shepherd specific kibble, it would not be good enough for Ianto because he's got that sensitive stomach. But for most dogs, most Chihuahuas, that's perfect. As far as I can tell, Prime does something similar, but they're a bit of a newer company and they don't have the same sort of presence that the American companies do, being Canadian. So it's a bit harder to see, but this one does not bother Ianto's stomach, so I'm okay with it. Another company that does that is Purina. Purina Pro Plan is exactly the same as Royal Canin's. Well, not the same formula, of course, but they do the whole life studies. And so is Hill's Science Diet. There's another one. I can never remember which one it is, but that's basically it. Purina, however, is a Nestle product. So other than Purina's probiotic, which we only get if necessary now that we've got his diet figured out, I don't get their products because I don't support Nestle. However, I do make that caveat for dogs because they are a science-based solution. Other dog food companies that don't do these tests, these studies, they can't tell you if your dog is going to do well on it for their whole life, or if it's just a blip in the radar that they're doing okay. Oh, he's going after his kibble now. Anyways, I just wanted to share with you this little bit about dog food and what I feed my boys. Tune in next time, I guess. I don't know. I need to come up with some sort of pithy ending for these things. Hey, Yan. Say bye-bye.